Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
Once upon a time, at the edge of a small green forest, lived an adorable little puppy named Patty. Patty was a curious and brave pup. Her best friend in the neighborhood was a sweet little kitten named Minic. Minic was clever and agile, and together with Patty, they discovered new games every day. One morning, Patty and Minic decided to explore deep into the forest. "Let's go on a big adventure today," Patty said excitedly. Minic wagged her tail in agreement. As they entered the forest, cheerful birdsong greeted them. Walking on the soft leaves, Patty barked gently. "This place is so different and so beautiful." Minic pointed at the fruits hanging from the tree branches. "Look, Patty, maybe we can find some tasty fruit." After walking for a while, they reached a small stream. They loved the sound of the flowing water. Patty bravely looked into the water, but her paw slipped and she fell in with a little splash. Minic rushed to help, purring, "Careful, Patty, I've got you." After crossing the stream together, they arrived at a deeper, more mysterious part of the forest. Minic noticed something glowing with her sharp little eyes. "Patty, what do you think that is?" The two of them followed the light. It was coming from a hidden cave in the heart of the forest. "Let's go see," said Patty, her voice filled with excitement. Inside the cave, they found sparkling stones and colorful crystals. "Wow, this place is amazing," said Minic. Just then, they heard a tiny voice whispering, "Help me." They looked at each other and ran toward the sound. Beneath a tree root, a small squirrel was trapped. Patty quickly began biting and pulling the roots, while Minic tried to comfort the frightened squirrel. After a few minutes, the squirrel was finally free. "Thank you, friends. Without you, I would have stayed stuck here," he said gratefully. Patty and Minic said goodbye to their new forest friend and started heading home. As they walked, the sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. "We had a wonderful day, didn't we, Minic?" Patty said joyfully. "Yes, Patty," replied Minic. "Every adventure is better with friendship and courage." And so, little Patty the puppy and Minic the kitten returned home, ready for more adventures to come.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a tiny, adorable bunny with snow-white fur. Her name was Pamuk. Every morning, Pamuk would wake up early, lift her little nose toward the sun, and hop happily across the grass to start her day. But Pamuk had a big dream: to explore beyond the forest. One day, a bird soaring through the sky told her about a magical place called the Hill of Colorful Shoes. They said that any creature who reaches that hill finds a special pair of magical shoes, ones that match them perfectly, make walking easier, and even give them a fun, unique ability. Pamuk loved that idea. Every time she sat among the flowers, she imagined climbing that hill, trying on sparkling, colorful shoes. One morning, as the sun rose, Pamuk made up her mind. Today, she would set off for the hill. She hopped through the grass on her soft little paws, past a field full of yellow daisies, then leapt over a tiny stream. Along the way, she paused to watch a snail slowly crawling, and gently greeted it, because in nature, everyone moves at their own pace. She traveled a short way, then a long way, over streams and hills. The sun climbed higher, and shadows shifted. Then, in the distance, Pamuk saw a large hill surrounded by colorful flowers. At the top, Shining lights sparkled like stars in the sky. That was it, the hill of colorful shoes. Pamuk's heart raced as she hopped up the hill. At the top, she saw shoes in every color and pattern imaginable. Blue ones with stars, green ones with leaf prints, yellow ones with stripes. She tried the red ones, then the purple ones with polka dots. But none of them felt quite right. Just as she was about to give up, she spotted a small, simple pair of sky blue shoes. Pamuk slipped them on, and suddenly felt a gentle breeze under her feet. The shoes made her hopping even more fun. She could bounce higher and land more softly than ever before. As she hopped down the hill, she flipped, twirled, and danced across the grass. But then she realized something. The most fun part wasn't the shoes. It was the journey, the things she saw, the little surprises she found, and all the new things she had learned. When Pamuk returned home, she wasn't just a bunny anymore. She was a bunny who had been curious, who had been brave, and who had discovered something new. That night, as she rested her head on a bed of soft leaves, she dreamed she was hopping across the sky, wearing her blue shoes, with a fluffy, cloud-like world beneath her.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land between rolling green meadows, lived a tiny lamb with snow-white wool. Her name was Pofuduk. She had big bright eyes, soft floppy ears, and every step she took was full of joy. All day long, she would hop among the flowers, chasing butterflies and laughing out loud. Sometimes she'd lie down in the grass and dream as she gazed at the sky. But at night, things weren't so easy for Pofuduk. While everyone else slowly drifted off to sleep, her eyes would stay wide open. The whisper of the wind, the soft chirping of crickets, the gentle rustle of the trees, they all echoed in her ears, making it hard to find the quiet inside her heart. Even when she curled up on her fluffy pillow, sleep just wouldn't come. One night, staring up at the stars, she sighed, "I wish there was a place, a truly quiet place." The next morning, one of the older sheep told her about the Valley of Silence. They said it was so quiet that every creature who made it there fell asleep within minutes. Pofuduk's eyes sparkled, her heart filled with hope. "This is the place I've been searching for," she whispered, and with a deep breath she stepped firmly onto the path. The journey was long, but it felt magical. First, she passed through fields of lavender. The purple flowers tickled her nose with their sweet scent, and bees buzzed gently around her. Next, she came to a small stream. The water babbled over the stones, singing its own melody. Pofuduk paused by the edge. Then with one graceful hop, she crossed to the other side. "You're a bit too noisy for tonight," she giggled softly. When she reached the foot of a hill, her steps slowed. She closed her eyes and listened to the wind. And then she felt it, a deep, perfect silence, so quiet it was as if the whole world had stopped to hold its breath. She climbed over the hill and stepped into the valley. No birds chirped, no trees swayed, even the leaves stood still. Pofuduk looked around in awe. This must be the Valley of Silence." She walked to the center, then gently lay down on the soft grass. Above her, the clouds moved slowly across the sky. Her breathing grew calm, her heart still, and just before drifting off, she whispered one last thought. "Maybe silence isn't out there. Maybe it's inside us." Her eyes closed. There was no more sound, no more thought, and at that moment, for the first time in her life, Pofuduk fell into a deep, peaceful sleep, wrapped in silence. That night, she dreamed she was walking on soft, fluffy clouds. With every step, a new star appeared in the sky, and the sky smiled at her. She wasn't just walking anymore, she was flying.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Uyku öncesi masallarına hoş geldiniz. Masalımız başlıyor.
Once upon a time, on the soft, sandy shore of a bright blue ocean, a tiny egg began to crack. Out came a baby sea turtle, with a slightly big head, huge round eyes, and a shell decorated with green and blue patterns. Her name was Tulu. When Tulu opened her eyes for the first time, the world around her looked enormous. The sound of the waves echoed in her ears, and the salty scent of the sea filled her nose.
Is this my home?
She whispered to herself. Yes, it was her world. She squinted toward the horizon and said with excitement,
I must explore the ocean.
Her first swim was a little funny. She swayed to the right, then to the left, but she didn't give up. Slowly crawling across the sand, she finally reached the water. The moment she touched the sea, her little body felt lighter. Her shell floated gently on the surface.
Swimming feels just like dreaming,
She giggled. Under the water, colorful fish swam all around her. A clownfish with red spots smiled at her, and a yellow striped fish circled around her playfully. Tulu was shy, but full of curiosity. She followed the fish, weaving through the coral reefs. Everything seemed huge, but also magical. After a while, she decided to rest under the shadow of a large rock. That's when an old jellyfish floated gently beside her.
You must be newly hatched,
The jellyfish said softly.
You're curious about the secrets of the sea, aren't you?
Tulu nodded.
I want to learn so much, but I'm also a little scared.
The jellyfish smiled.
Courage isn't about not being afraid.
She said.
It's about moving forward even when you are.
Then she drifted away, glowing softly as she disappeared. Tulu swam again. In a deep hollow, she saw something glowing, a shimmering blue shape. As she got closer, she realized it wasn't a stone. It was a giant sea star. The sea star gave her a friendly wink. Believe in yourself, little one, it said. You are stronger than you think. As the sun began to set, the waves grew slightly taller. Tulu felt the current for the first time. It pushed her forward, then pulled her back. She was nervous, but then she took a deep breath, stretched her flippers wide, and found her balance.
I can do it.
She cheered. When she grew tired, she decided to return to the shore. The sand looked golden, and the sky was painted with orange and pink. She rested her tiny body on the warm beach, feeling a soft glow inside.
Today, I learned. And I was brave.
She whispered.
I'm not just a baby anymore. I'm an explorer.
Looking up at the first stars in the sky, she made a promise.
Tomorrow, I'll swim even deeper.
Then she curled into her shell, and with the gentle sound of the waves like a lullaby, Tulu drifted off into the sweetest sleep.
Yarın görüşmek üzere. Abone olmayı unutmayın. Tatlı rüyalar.
Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
The spring sun was just beginning to show its face. At the edge of the forest, in a soft meadow full of blooming flowers, lived a little bear cub named Lupo. His fur was brown, his nose looked like a button, and his big round eyes were full of curiosity. Every morning, Lupo would wake up early and go strawberry picking with his mother. But today felt different. There was an unexplainable excitement in his heart. Today, I want to go on a journey all by myself, he told his mother. She smiled gently. Start with small steps, she said, but be careful. Lupo nodded and set off. The meadow was bursting with colors. Yellow daisies, purple lavender, and blue forget-me-nots. Lupo began his walk by counting the colors. The ground was warm under his paws. Bees buzzed around, and butterflies danced in the air beside him. Suddenly, a sound came from the bushes. Lupo froze. His heart started to pound. For a moment, he thought about going back. But then he took a deep breath. "I'm a brave little bear," he whispered. And slowly, he stepped closer. Out from the bushes came a tiny, frightened hedgehog. "Hello," Lupo said kindly. "You don't need to be scared." The hedgehog gave a shy smile. "I'm lost," he said softly. "I can't find my way home." Lupo opened his arms. "Let's find it together," he said. "I'm already on an adventure." The hedgehog's eyes lit up, and he followed closely behind Lupo. They walked across the grassy field and climbed a small hill. From there, they could see the whole meadow. The hedgehog described a big rock near his home, but there was a problem. The path to the rock crossed a small stream, and the water was flowing a bit fast. The hedgehog stepped back. "I'm afraid of water," he said. Lupo paused. He had never stepped into water alone either. But then he looked at his new friend. "We're both scared," Lupo said. "But if we go together, we'll be stronger." They reached the stream. Lupo stepped in first, carefully walking on all fours. "See? It's not deep," he said. The hedgehog closed his eyes and took a step. Together, they made it across. Soon, they spotted the big rock. The hedgehog smiled brightly. He had found his home. "I never would have made it without you," he said. Lupo smiled quietly. "I wouldn't have been this brave on my own," he said. "But together, we faced our fears." As the sun began to set, Lupo returned to his mother. He could still hear the sound of the stream and see the hedgehog's happy face in his mind. His mother hugged him tightly. "You took small steps," she said, "but you showed big courage." That night, Lupo looked up at the stars. He thought to himself, "Being scared is okay, but being brave feels wonderful." And with that thought, he closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep, surrounded by the sweet scent of spring.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams and see you tomorrow. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
In the heart of a tropical jungle, among the high branches of a giant walnut tree, lived a tiny capuchin monkey named Lilo. Lilo was full of energy, endlessly curious, and sometimes just a little bit mischievous. Her favorite thing in the world was climbing into unknown places and finding hidden paths. One morning, a mysterious smell drifted through the trees. Lilo lifted her nose. "I've never smelled this before," she murmured. Following the scent, she slid through the bamboo stalks and leapt over tangled vines with excitement. At the end of the trail, she found an old stone archway covered in moss and vines. Strange symbols were carved into the rock. Lilo's eyes sparkled. "This must be an ancient tree village," she whispered. Without hesitation, she stepped inside. Hollowed-out tree trunks formed old tunnels. Tiny wooden bridges stretched from branch to branch, and even a dried-up pulley system hung between limbs. Lilo imagined animals once lived here long ago. As she jumped from one bridge to another, a sound broke the silence. Chirp, chirp, chirp. A parrot was perched on a branch, fluttering nervously. "Hey, be careful," the parrot squawked. "These branches are old and rotting." Lilo winked. "Adventure always comes with a little risk," she said. The parrot flapped beside her, and together, they continued deeper into the village. Inside a hollow tree, they found a staircase spiraling down into the darkness. It was cool and dim inside. At the bottom, they discovered bright, colorful fruits placed neatly into carved stone bowls. The parrot gasped. "These are rare forest fruits. Nobody's seen them in years." Lilo picked one up and sniffed it, but she didn't eat it. "Maybe we should take them back to study," she suggested. As they headed back, one of the rope bridges began to sway. "Oh no, this place really is old," the parrot muttered. Lilo quickly grabbed a hanging vine and swung beneath the bridge. "Jump," she called. The parrot gently glided down, and Lilo lowered herself carefully to the ground. When they landed, they both burst into laughter. "That was definitely an adventure," said Lilo. "And it's only just begun," added the parrot. "This discovery is just the start." When Lilo returned home, her fur was covered in mud, but her eyes sparkled with excitement. Her mother raised an eyebrow and grinned. "So, where did you disappear to today?" Lilo giggled and snuggled close. "I didn't get lost in the jungle," she whispered. "I found it." That night, as she gazed up at the stars, Lilo thought to herself, "Every tree in this forest hides a secret, and I'm going to find them all." With that, she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, her heart filled with the thrill of new adventures.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
Once upon a time, in the icy lands of the far south, a tiny penguin named Peepo opened his eyes to a brand new day. His fluffy gray back, snow-white belly, bright blue eyes, and tiny orange beak shimmered in the morning light. The salty breeze carried a crisp chill to his nose and filled his heart with curiosity. "Today," he whispered, "I'll discover the hidden colors beyond the ice." As Peepo slid across the snow, a baby seal named Nina, with silver fur that glowed like moonlight, called out cheerfully. "Where are you going?" Nina asked. Peepo smiled. "I'm searching for the magical ice crystal that will bring color to our white land. Will you come with me?" Nina wagged her tail with delight, and the two friends set off beyond the shimmering glaciers. Their journey began with gentle songs from the seals and albatrosses gliding across a pure blue sky. The sea sparkled like glass. Peepo and Nina carefully crossed cracked ice bridges. At one point, a deep crevasse rumbled in their path. Peepo slipped on the slick surface, but Nina steadied herself with her flippers. "It's hard alone, but together we can do it," Peepo said. With a flip of her tail, Nina nudged a chunk of ice to form a tiny bridge. Together they crossed safely. A little farther on, they found the entrance to a hidden cave glowing with coral-colored light. Soft rays shimmered from inside. Within the cave stood a tall crystal pillar, covered in thin drops of light that sparkled like a rainbow. Peepo whispered in awe, "This must be the source of the colors." Just then, a wise swarm of krill, tiny sea creatures living in the cave walls, began to draw glowing patterns on the stone. "The crystal spreads its light to every direction," they said, "but only to those who know how to share it." The krill's words warmed Peepo's heart. He tried to lift the crystal, but it was too heavy for him alone. Nina gently stepped forward and helped with her strong flippers. Together, they carried the crystal to the top of an icy hill. When the sun rose over the horizon, the crystal burst into beams of red, gold, and violet. Snowflakes danced in rainbow colors. The returning penguins couldn't believe their eyes. An elder penguin spoke with a smile. "Curiosity and teamwork bring warmth, even to the coldest lands." As the sky turned pastel orange, Peepo and Nina sat side by side, watching the sunset in silence. Today I learned, Peepo said softly, that those who work together can spread light to everyone. Nina nodded. And colors grow when they're shared. A gentle polar wind hummed like a lullaby. Peepo wrapped his flippers around himself and drifted into a peaceful sleep. The crystal's light continued to paint hopeful colors across the endless white, and when Antarctica awoke again, the little explorers were ready for new adventures.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
Deep in the forest, high among the branches of an old oak tree, lived a fluffy little baby owl with big round eyes. Her name was Minu. Minu was just learning how to fly. She slept during the day and loved watching the sky at night. One night, as moonlight bathed the forest, Minu gently opened her wings. "I should try flying a little farther tonight," she whispered to herself, but a small worry tugged at her heart. "What if I lose my way?" Minu took a deep breath. "I'm a night bird. My eyes are bright, my ears are sharp. I can do this." She quietly left her nest, landing first on nearby branches. Each takeoff and landing was a little shaky, but she kept trying. On the far side of the forest stood an old stone tower. According to legend, owl ancestors used to sit at its top and watch the sky, counting stars. Minu had always heard that story. "I'll fly to that tower," she said with excitement. She slowly made her way forward. Moonlight filtered through the leaves, and bugs sang their nighttime lullabies. Suddenly, a golden shimmer caught her eye in the distance. A swarm of fireflies! Minu started following them. The glowing lights swirled through the trees, and that's when Minu realized how fun flying could be. But while chasing the fireflies, Minu lost her way. The forest grew quiet. Trees became thicker, branches more tangled. Panic crept in. But then she perked up her ears. She could hear an owl's call in the distance. Her mother's voice! Minu followed the sound, gliding through the branches. Finally, she reached a clearing, and there it was, the stone tower. "It's real," she whispered, landing gently on the top. The moon was high above. The forest seemed to be listening in peaceful silence. Minu took a deep breath. "I did it! I flew! I found my way! I reached the stars." A moment later, her mother quietly landed beside her. "I knew you were following me," she said with a smile. Minu leaned into her warm wing. "I was scared, but then I remembered to listen," she said. Her mother whispered, "In nature, you find your way by listening, both to the world and to your heart." That night, Minu stared at the stars from the top of the stone tower. She was no longer just a baby owl. She was a little one who had found her own way, and under the moonlight, with the wind whispering softly, she gently drifted into a sweet sleep.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams, and see you tomorrow. Uyku öncesi masallarına hoş geldiniz. Masalımız başlıyor.
Once upon a time, in the endless grasslands of Australia, lived a tiny baby kangaroo covered in soft fur and blessed with big, strong feet. Her name was Kippa. Kippa spent her days nestled inside her mother's warm pouch, peeking out to watch the world. She was always curious, how the wind made the grass dance, how other animals jumped and played. One morning, as the golden sun rose high into the sky, Kippa slowly poked her head out. Today I will take my very first step," she whispered. Her heart fluttered with excitement. Her mother spoke gently. "You can come out when you're ready. I'll be right here." Kippa twitched her ears, squinted at the sun, then stretched out her tiny front paws, followed by her back legs, and, hop, she landed on the ground. She wobbled for a moment, then stood proudly. "I did it," she cheered. The world around her suddenly felt enormous. Tall grasses swayed in the breeze, tiny butterflies fluttered around her, grasshoppers leapt through the air, and birds sang from nearby trees. As she took her first steps, the earth beneath her feet felt soft, but unfamiliar. Everything feels so different, she thought, yet smiled. Not far away, a long-tailed lizard gave her a friendly wink. "Hello," Kippa called. "Are you new here?" asked the lizard. Kippa nodded. "It's my first day out." The lizard pointed toward a large rock nearby. "Try climbing up there. The view is beautiful." Kippa bounced a little, slipped once or twice, but finally made it to the top. Her eyes widened in wonder. In the distance, she saw more kangaroos, sleepy koalas in trees, and even a group of emus near a small waterhole. "Wow," she whispered, "the world is so full of color." Just then, she heard a rustling sound. Something was moving through the grass. Kippa froze, her heart pounded. What should I do? She wondered. She took a deep breath. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. "Come out when you're ready. I'm always here." She raised her ears and listened carefully. It was only the wind brushing the tall grass. She chuckled. Maybe it's okay to feel a little scared. Before long, her legs began to tire. She had worked hard today. As she made her way back, she spotted her mother waiting with a warm smile. Kippa hopped quickly into her pouch. "I saw so many things for the first time," she said excitedly. "And tomorrow, I'll go even further." Her mother gently stroked her head. "The world is big," she said, "but it's learned one step at a time." That night, Kippa curled up inside the pouch, her heart still buzzing with joy. As she closed her eyes, she whispered to herself, "I'm not just a watcher anymore. I'm one of the explorers."
Yarın görüşmek üzere. Abone olmayı unutmayın. Tatlı rüyalar. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Let's begin tonight's journey.
In the endless golden grasses of the African savanna, a small lion cub was just beginning to find his strength. His name was Leo. His paws were large, but his steps were hesitant as he watched the sunrise each morning and listened to the distant calls of passing wildlife. A spark of courage burned in his heart, though he did not yet fully understand it. One morning, his mother called softly, "Leo, today you and your best friend Temba will explore on your own. Remember, you are stronger together." Temba was a gentle giraffe whose yellow and brown spots glowed in the savanna sunshine. Leo felt a thrill of excitement and a twinge of worry. What if something happens, he thought. But Temba's calm gaze gave him confidence. Together they followed footprints across the vast grassland. Leo thought, "Every step is a new story." Temba murmured, "Don't be afraid, I'm proud of you." Soon they reached the base of a small hill. Before them stretched the savanna's endless beauty, painted crimson by the rising sun. Suddenly the wind picked up, and dark clouds gathered overhead. "A storm is coming. We must find shelter," said Temba. Leo bravely nodded, and they raced toward a small cave hidden among the trees. Inside, the air was cool and protected them from the rain's roar. Leo stood guard at the cave entrance, his heart pounding, but determined to keep his friend safe. Leadership is not just about appearing strong, it's about protecting others, he thought. As thunder boomed and rain pounded the cave's roof, Temba nuzzled his shoulder and said, "You will be a truly brave leader." Leo gave a small smile. "Together, we are stronger." When the storm passed, the air smelled fresh and clean. Sunshine pierced the clouds as if the world had been reborn. Hand in hand, Leo and Temba stepped from the cave and marveled at the sparkling savanna. "I learned so much today," said Leo. "It's natural to feel fear, but bravery is choosing to act anyway." They made their way back to camp, where their mother greeted them with joyful relief. "What an adventure you've had!" she exclaimed. That night, under a blanket of stars, Leo whispered, True leadership is about courage, love, and trust before drifting into dreams of future adventures.
Thanks for joining us. Sweet dreams and see you tomorrow.